Welcome to Monster Monday. So we are here to finish out the Fright Night franchise with Fright Night Part 2, New Titties.
New Blood.
New Blood.
Dexter,
New Blood.
New Blood.
No.
Fright Night, New Blood.
Fright Night, New Blood. Friday the 13th Part 7, New Blood. A lot of New Bloods.
Friday, New Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my memory of this was that I remembered it pretty decently. Like right when it started, I was like, this starts at a gas station, right? And there's a gas station. I remember it ended in like a blood fountain and stuff like that. So my memory of it was pretty decent, but I didn't realize that this was essentially another remake of the first film.
Yeah.
Which I found to be pretty surprising because this should just be Fright Night, New Blood.
Yeah.
Like, Fright Night 2
Makes it
doesn't make sense.
No.
Fright Night, New Blood would have just made sense.
Yes.
So why put the 2 there?
I don't know. I agree.
Yeah.
It's confusing when you add the two. It makes it seem like it's a sequel
Yeah.
to either the original or a remake of the original Part 2.
And that's just it.
A sequel to the new Fright Night, even though I don't know when this came out.
So this is kind of like a remake of the original 2 in one movie. Right? Because Charlie's in college and there's this female Jerry Dandridge, basically, which she literally is called Jerry Dandridge in this with a G instead of a J. But yeah, there's similarities as far as that goes. But then the rest of the story is all Fright Night Part 1, right? He's in his room. He looks across the street. He sees the vampire attacking the girl. Evil Ed is with him instead of Amy. But his girlfriend, who's his ex-girlfriend in this, is Amy. And I mean, it all plays out in that opening with the characters. And we got Peter Vincent, who in this is some online persona versus like a Chris Angel. Mm-hmm. We've got like a Ghost Hunters type of show that he now runs, and he just so happens, because the movie takes place in Romania, which is cool. Mm-hmm. We went from Vegas in the last one, which I really like, but now we've moved to the motherland of vampires. Yeah. Right? And, one thing I'll give this movie credit for is that I like that there's so many tits. No. Yes, I did like that a lot. This got A+ on the tit scale. No, what I did like about this movie is that they, instead of like all the Vlad the Impaler stuff, which they do bring up, they instead switch this to Elizabeth Bathory and how she's like Countess Dracula. Yeah. And that this was a woman who bathed in the blood of virgins to stay young or whatever, which we kind of get a glimpse of in something like Hostel 2. Mm-hmm. Right? And to make, instead of just gender swapping like they did with Jerry Dandridge here, they actually gave it some kind of a reason and brought up another historical figure that kind of gets linked to this in a way, but never is almost ever brought up in vampire movies. Right. So I did quite like that addition of making her Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, me too. I don't feel like we see enough of like Elizabeth Bathory in horror movies, and she's a really scary historical figure because she is real, right? Like, she's not a pretend person.
Right. Well, Vlad the Impaler
is real
as well.
I just was suddenly questioning if she was like a legend or if she was a real like historical figure. But it's either way, it's cool to see that instead of just like only Vlad the Impaler or
look
Dracula.
Her up.
So
we got the time while we're sitting here. I've heard her name before mentioned in horror movies, but yeah, she might be one of those. I think she's real. Like a real historical figure who probably was just a freaking
Hungarian serial killer. Okay,
yeah.
So she was real.
Okay, I thought so.
What is that?
I've never really
She's like,
looked into her. I've just heard her name a few times
yeah.
In some horror or some shit.
4 of her servants were accused of torturing and killing hundreds of girls and women between 1590 and 1610. Okay. So,
Hundreds. Damn.
Yeah, the Blood Countess.
That's
Most
crazy.
prolific female murderer
Ever?
in the Western world.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. And
Wow.
and is there like a movie on her?
Like a documentary?
It should say so on Wikipedia. No, like an actual like a film on like her life.
I don't know.
I've never seen one, but like in pop culture. So look through there. Yeah, so we get Charlie, we get Evil Ed, we get Amy, we get Peter Vincent, we get Jerry Dandridge, it's all here. So it's all, very Fright Night.
Yeah.
And Peter Vincent has a show called Fright Night, and Evil Ed is the expert on vampires, and it's a straight up remake of the original film, which I thought was pretty surprising. So overall, this is okay. It's fine. It's watchable. It's like a one-time watch. It's trashier, sleazier than the other films. It definitely tries to lean more into like I'll say what's the word I'm trying to think of? Provocative, like the
Sensual?
nudity, but like Skinamax type shit. More like
Erotic?
Yeah, erotic. Thank you. It leans more in the erotic direction, right? It's really trying to sell itself through like flashy style and sex, as opposed to being like charming and the horror in this is just like kind of like very basic horror, but I feel like the sexuality is the most prevalent element in this film. And I don't hate that, right? But
that's what I thought was missing from that remake.
The
the sexuality.
Sure. But this has got like gratuitous nudity where there's like close-ups of girls just rubbing their tits against the camera kind of stuff, which as I said, A+ for that kind of stuff. But does it like, because do scenes like that, do I like them? Yes. Do they help the film in any way? Do they add to the feel of the film, like the atmosphere or the horror or the storyline or the characters or anything? No, they're just bonuses, right? So like you can have it's kind of like gore or something. It's a bonus. It's an added bonus. It's like a pretty thing to look at, like, oh, I like that, but it doesn't add anything more than kind of an immediate like reaction. Right. So the film kind of fails because it leans too heavily into the erotic and gets a little too sleazy, and this film just feels horny.
Yeah, it does. I don't think that it doesn't really do anything for the plot too much, obviously. Yeah. But it is also important because Jerry, both in this and the original, like the idea is that they are seductors, so that's still part of it for sure. And I do like the lady that plays Jerry in this. I think she does a good job. I think she's like very beautiful and mysterious and everything. So I actually liked her performance quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of like one of those remakes where it's like, I appreciate that they were trying to do something different. Modern. Like in modern, like that's cool and I do appreciate it, but it's just much lesser quality than the original. Sure. For a lot of different reasons. But it was interesting to see it in like a totally new setting and like kind of gender swapping things a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all that entertaining of a movie.
No, it's not, but it's like it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, sure.
Like it could have been a lot worse.
This is a fairly generic straight to DVD pseudo sequel remake kind of thing that we've seen 100 times. So this is nothing new. It's nothing horrendous. It's nothing great. It's not all that memorable. You know, the only people that I would recommend this to are like, you know, fans of graphic nudity.
Sure.
Right? Like that's really the only reason to watch this. If you're like a titty hound, then check this out.
Yeah.
I don't think that like, but at the same time, it's okay. As I said, it kind of reminds me of like a Dracula 2000 or any one of those kind of like generic vampire movies that is like basically straight to DVD, but like the quality of it is just kind of right in that middle range where it's like it's competently made, I guess, but like there's no heart to it. There's no like excitement. There's no style. There's no substance. There's no anything. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
But okay, let's get into the film. So we get this opening scene with a gas pump, and let's point out the obvious here that when you leave a gas pump like engaged inside your you know, your gas tank, when it goes like your gas tank is full, it automatically shuts off. Like this is something that every gas pump has. This is for a reason, right? But in this, for some reason, it just starts spraying out the car and just continues to keep spraying. And she gets randomly attacked by what she would assume is a person.
Yeah.
And her response is to jump out of the car, light a lighter, and blow up her car, the gas station, and the person. That's a bit of an overreaction to being accosted in a parking lot. Like,
I mean, I don't
who's
know.
gonna blow up their fucking car when they're 2 feet away from it as someone's trying to attack
close,
them?
Yeah.
That's insane.
But
like,
I think
okay, seriously, if there was gas on the ground
Yeah.
and you started getting attacked at a gas station, do
Yeah.
you really think you're gonna pull a lighter out and throw it on the gas?
Well, to her,
There's no fucking way. The
her
answer is
credit,
no fucking way.
I don't think there was anybody else around, and it's like in the dead of night, and that attacker was being pretty violent towards her, so it wasn't like somebody walking up and like...
You're talking about throwing...
I mean, yes, it's reckless, obviously. Like, she's endangering herself by doing that.
If she knew it was a vampire, then I'd buy it. But the fact that she probably thinks that this is just some random like tweaker or something who's like trying to rape her, throwing a lighter on top of gas pumping out of a gas pump.
What else should she do in that situation, though?
Run into the freaking building and either try to lock the door or get yourself a weapon and call the police. Right? You don't light a gas station on fire that you're standing right in front of. Okay? Because what are you doing there? You're not protecting yourself. You're killing yourself. If you light a gas pump as it's spraying gasoline out, it's gonna go up into it. It's gonna blow the whole goddamn place up. Right. So it's now whether or not that's true, I don't know. I think the way that it works, it would just keep spraying fire out and it wouldn't suck back down into it. But there's gasoline everywhere. Your car's gonna explode.
Yeah.
You're killing yourself. She survives because it's convenient to the plot, but as close as she is to the car when she throws that, but it's such an insane overreaction to me to throw like a lighter into gas when you're just being accosted. Like you just run into the joint, you turn around, you try to lock the door, you get a weapon, you call the police, and you stand there and you do the standoff, but you don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Not at that point. Nothing's even happened. They just broke the windshield and are trying to, like, get at you. That's not worth blowing up a gas station for.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think she was scared. And, like,
I get that she's scared, but come on.
Especially if you're like,
that's her initial reaction.
To fight back.
She sees the gas and then she's like, I'm blowing myself up. Like,
well,
what?
I mean, yeah, I don't think she's doing it to blow herself up, obviously. Like, she's movie like, conveniently protected. But she's not gonna, like, nobody's gonna do that to kill themselves. Like,
well, unless they're, like, protesting.
Right.
Right? Remember that? The famous picture?
Mm-hmm.
Rage Against the Machine cover? Yeah, so I just thought that was ridiculous. But the vampire is, like, unfazed by this. Now, is this vampire supposed to be Jared Andrews? Or, I don't know what the hell.
I think so.
I thought it was a guy.
It's not a guy, but...
It's a chick? Okay.
I don't know that we see the face clearly at all. Actually, wait. Yes, we do. Wait.
Do we?
Because, like, the skin...
Yeah, the skin forms, but I
totally
thought it
don't
was
remember.
kind of like a real close-up. So, the
remember.
skin on the face is completely burned away. And then the vampire bites into this girl's neck, and as she sucks the blood through her neck, the skin and everything immediately heals and reforms, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And then when they're in the fight, we see it through the security cameras, and we can't see the vampire, so we just see her getting thrown around the gas station. I thought the opening, the very opening, was actually really cool.
Yeah.
And if that was like a short film, I would have been like, that was a really cool short film.
Sure. Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too. I like the opening. Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to go back and see. This is currently streaming on Stars if you have it. I feel like I'm going back to Resident Evil 3 right now. Stars. Okay. So so she is his professor at his college, which we really don't pay attention to almost at all in this film.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's just kind of a dropped plot line. He's going to school in Romania, and she's his professor, and then he sees her, like, with some chick, and then basically he goes to class, like, one more time, and then we're just done.
Yeah.
With that. And then Amy's like, you're crazy. You think she's a vampire? And then, like, the next scene, she proves she's a vampire. And it's like, okay, we're done with that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everything's just kind of wrapped up and not explored almost at all in this film. It's very
all
superficial. It's very quick. It's very,
it moves really fast.
Yeah, it's just move things along.
Yes.
It's made for a specific kind of audience who doesn't want to think very much.
No.
They just want to see some vampire action, some titties, and then
And then call it
credits.
a night.
Yeah. And that's what this kind of movie is. And some people, they're all about that.
Sure.
And yeah, so then something, I know that this is part of like vampire lore, but I feel like it's very rarely used. And that is like the vampire's shadow being able to like physically manipulate things. Mm-hmm. So we have this really sexy scene where this girl is getting like seduced and then like fondled by Jerry Dandridge's shadow. And she's like slowly undoing her top as the girl's moaning, and we get like, you know, her top's finally taken off. It's caressing her tits, and it's really sexy actually. It's a really sexy scene. It actually kind of feels like a porno. So I did like that. I'm not gonna lie. But the whole idea of like a shadow being able to physically manipulate things is interesting. I don't really know what the purpose is. Like it's kind of like a pointless superpower, honestly, because okay, they're not allowed to come in to your house, right? But if there was some street light behind you and your shadow was cast through the room, the shadow could kind of come into the room and get you where the physical body couldn't. That'd be the only real reason for your physical, like a shadow to be able to physically manipulate objects. Because if I'm as close to you as my shadow is, and I'm a vampire, I might as well just be the one to attack.
Unless the shadow can go farther. Like
unless it can stretch farther, but she like can jump great heights. She can move really fast, even though she goes down this like these tunnels.
Yeah.
Like 78 tunnels to try to get to them, and it's like, how far did they run?
I know.
For you to be able, because they just keep showing her moving through all these tunnels to get to them.
Yeah.
Maybe because she lost them, but she has like sound
super
location, smell,
and...
everything. You think she'd be able to find them pretty easily.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like she was on a direct path, but for some reason it just took forever and ever and ever. It's plot convenience.
Yes.
Right, to ramp up tension, because in reality they could have only maybe went down like one or two corridor pathways before they got to that place, and then she runs down the way we see it visually through her eyes. We see her run down bare minimum 30.
Yeah.
And it's like they did not run that far.
No.
Right? So if she can move that fast, what's the point of a shadow? If my shadow stretches to that maybe 10 feet in front of me, she can move 10 feet. Right? Like the shadow thing is just, it seems cool, but ultimately pointless to me.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that the shadow would be able to come into your house without permission. Like, that seems contradictory. Like, if
I agree.
person can't come in, why should the shadow
I agree.
come
So what's
in?
the point of the shadow thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's cool.
I don't know.
It's like
I
a
mean,
party trick.
I guess, like, if you didn't want somebody to see you, but you weren't in a private residence, you could, like, surprise them that way. I
like, don't know.
Stealth kill people.
Yeah. A real lazy vampire.
You could be in a whole crowd and just kill somebody with your shadow and nobody would know that it was you.
Yeah. I mean, people would see... I don't know. If they're not paying attention, sure. So I guess, yeah, for stealth kills in a crowded area. Yes. But your shadow would be, like, blocked by so many people.
Maybe not.
So you'd have to... Your shadow would have to be able to, like, weave in and out. Like, it can form itself in different ways, too.
I mean, it's a shadow, so I don't see why it couldn't, like...
So it doesn't have to take on your appearance.
I don't know.
Like, her shadow can manipulate itself.
But I don't know that
like,
it would have problems being, like, blocked.
Because so does she have... I feel like in the movie she doesn't move, but her shadow does, right? If that's accurate, then yeah, she can manipulate her shadow. Because if she's sitting there and going... See, my point being is, like, if it's your shadow, you kind of have to do the motions anyway. Right? But I guess if you don't have to move at all and all you have to do is think, then this is just one lazy-ass way to kill a person. Yes. Like, you know what? I'm a little tired right now. So I'm just gonna let my shadow do the work. Yeah. I'm just gonna think about it and just be like,
the shadow does everything.
It's just some lazy ass vampires using their shadows to kill people.
Why not?
Why not is correct. All right. And I like that. Yeah, she can absorb the blood through her skin. Though that being said, she does dive into her blood pool. Yeah. And then I guess she soaks it through her dress. Clothes as well, because she has not one single bit of blood.
Yeah. Nope.
Her dress becomes part of her skin. No. Or her blood, her skin just sucks it right out of the clothes.
That's the only thing that would make sense, and even that doesn't make too much.
It makes perfect sense. It makes as much sense as a vampire. Right? If you can believe that a shadow can manipulate objects, I can believe that she can absorb. Then sucking the blood out of a dress through your skin is not that far of a stretch.
All right, that's
right.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty silly. I know, but it's the explanation we get. So there is a scene in this where Charlie goes to Amy and he's trying to prove that Jerry is a vampire while she's in her room. And instead of going to the surefire way of proving it, which would be pulling out his phone, which he already did earlier. He pulled out his phone and she was not showing up on his camera, which would instantaneously make anybody a believer. Yeah. He then decides instead to grab a Bible and try to hold it in front of her. Yeah. And it's like, bro, you got a phone right here.
Yes.
Just
like you can prove something is wrong very
pretty
quickly.
Simple.
Yeah.
That would be so effective.
Yes.
But he does not go for that. He goes for a stupid Bible. And it does not work out, even though she just grunts through the pain of the Bible burning her hand. In this movie, Peter Vincent is offered $2,000. We've went up times 4 here. It was $500 for him to rob Amy of her education.
Yeah.
In this one, it is Evil Ed's $2,000, which then he finally bumps up to $3,000 when they're on the train. But as soon as he gets one glimpse into those dark eyes of Jerry Dandridge, he steps right the hell off that train and then goes and assembles an army of strippers.
Yeah.
To act as his assistants in putting together a room full of information so he can study vampires. But then
it's like protection. He's like putting Bible pages on the wall.
Oh yeah, that makes
and
sense.
Getting garlic and yeah.
Okay, I thought he was
He's just
trying to figure. Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
He was just trying to hide out until it was daylight so that he could leave.
Yeah, he's also got a big ass cross tattooed on his chest, and we get this like really weird internal chest vision.
That was so weird.
Where it's like a plastic thing with the tattoo on it, and we see it through his chest skin of like what his. It's like.
What would be looking at that?
If you ever wondered what it would be like to be inside of his chest,
this is what
here's the vision.
Yeah, just to see
that his skin
Ed
sees
being like shoved against it.
Yeah, so he could do the line like "That was disgusting."
Yeah.
Right. It's silly.
Yeah.
It is
silly. I really don't like Peter Vincent in this.
No.
I found him extremely unlikable and unfunny. And just bad.
Yeah.
I didn't like the performance.
So bleeding is not believing to you?
No. Bleeding is not believing.
Yeah. Welcome to Fright Night for real, bitch.
Dude,
we thought he turned into Jesse Pinkman
100%.
there. That's what happened.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote that line and was like, this is going to be really rad when he says it. Just wait.
Breaking Vamps.
Breaking Vamps.
Yeah, that was the show that he should be on.
Yeah.
So Amy is a virgin that was born at midnight on a blood moon. This is very convenient. And in order for this all to work, she not only had to find that girl, but she also had to find her and then take her back to her lair to then have her kill who she loved whilst still being a virgin at a certain time.
Yeah.
On another blood moon, right?
Yeah.
It was on a blood moon or no? Or it had to be at a specific time and that's it?
No. I didn't
or before the sun came up.
It was just before the sun came up.
But she just found her that night.
Yeah.
So it has to be like the night she turned her?
Yeah.
Is what it is?
I think so.
So she has to turn her that night. Then she has to lure her. But she never even knew if he was going to come. So, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not understanding this. So,
plan.
Her plan makes no sense because why would she let Ed attack him and potentially kill him?
Yeah.
When he goes to kill himself and he pretends to do so.
Yeah.
She freaks out.
Yeah.
And is like, no! Because then Amy starts dying.
Right.
When he starts to die. Even though he isn't dying.
I know. I don't know why she
because
starts to act.
He doesn't hit his heart.
Yeah.
So I don't know why she turns, because she's not acting.
I also
Her
don't know
body
why
is
she
changing.
would even die.
Because she's like connected to him and
that
her.
Doesn't make sense
something.
to me at all. Like,
I think because at that point she's connected to his, like, the love, right? Is like she needs to kill him because she needs to corrupt purity. But it has to be somebody born on a blood moon at midnight, which, I mean, this kind of stuff is fucking asinine. Yeah. This is
the stuff that they're just like, nobody's going to think about this or care at all. Like, we're just going to make this the thing.
But why sick Evil Ed on him?
Yeah.
If he can't die by anybody else's hand.
Except Amy.
What should have happened there is Evil Ed should have tracked him down. He should have had him at the killing stroke, and then Jerry Dandridge should have killed Ed right before he killed him to save him, because she's like, and then that would have cued him in on the fact that like, wait, why do you want me alive?
Right.
And then he would have been like, is it important for me to be alive for you? And then started threatening his own life.
Yeah.
And then she would have been like, and then he would have been like, I got you now, bitch. See, I'm telling you guys, I can write things better so quickly. It's so stupid. I don't get it. I don't know why it's so hard to fix these silly problems in movies. I can do it in 10 seconds off the top of my head.
I don't know.
Because I'm a genius.
Because you're a genius.
No, I don't know what it is. These people are just not smart. But anyway, yeah, I don't know why she would allow Ed to attack him. This makes zero sense.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, whatever. And the fountain is really cool.
Yeah,
the
that is
like
cool.
the person hung upside down, bleeding from the neck, and then it's like this big pool of blood. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool production design there.
Yeah,
So,
I really like the shot of that girl upside down, like when she's being bloodlet.
the gratuitous nudity
The
scene.
gratuitous nudity shadow scene, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool shot, though.
It
Like,
was a
just
cool
the
shot.
angles and everything.
If she succeeds in this, she will become a daywalker, and I think she then no longer has to suffer the weaknesses of a vampire.
Right.
Which, yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Evil Ed, they make a point to show Ed taking Charlie's face and scraping it, very long scrape across a wall.
Yeah.
That's really rough, right? It's like this like plaster wall that has, rough edges all around it, right? And he takes his face and he shoves it in there and he scrapes it all across the side of it. And then Charlie turns his head. They didn't even bother with making his face like slightly irritated or red. Even just kind of putting a little blush on there or something to make it look like it got irritated.
No.
Like, why show that? To not even have a scratch on him.
I don't know. I don't know.
I just was like,
doesn't make
really?
sense,
Why?
yeah.
Why does he have no marks at all? He's not bloody.
Yeah.
He's not injured.
No.
He doesn't even scream or say ow or anything. He just kind of gets his face dragged across there, and then he comes back and they keep fighting, and there's nothing. But they make such a point to show that it's like a gravelly type of wall, and that he scrapes it across, and it's like ooh. But then he takes his face away, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that's just baffling to me.
Of course.
I don't get it.
Yeah, because it's like, why even include that if you're not gonna make the effects visible
No freaking
when they
clue.
should be visible?
And somehow he gets bit and is bleeding profusely, but doesn't die. Then is drowned and doesn't die. But then he turns into a vampire, so now he can't die.
Yeah.
And then he stakes himself through the heart, which we talked about this. He doesn't actually hit his heart, but so she starts to die. But then as soon as it's realized that he's okay, then she's totally fine again. It's like
psychosomatic.
Yeah, it's like psychosomatic. She believes that he's hurt, so she's like, ugh, but
like
she
her skin
starts
is
to
like,
change.
Yeah, I know.
She's dying.
I know.
Then he goes for her, and she blocks it.
Yes.
Then Peter Vincent comes in and throws this Vlad the Impaler freaking prop, metal stake at her.
You know what that reminded me of?
What?
The scene from The Mummy Returns at the end.
Oh, yeah.
When Jonathan throws the spear. Just all of that.
And Emotep grabs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a much better movie.
Yes. But then, so all that happens. She gets the stake through the heart by Peter Vincent, but then she's like, you missed, pulls it out. And then for some god, beyond my comprehension, why, yet again, that she would have windows to the outside in her lair when her biggest weakness is sunlight.
Yeah. So
he can just conveniently break some windows.
Dude, the way he breaks the windows too, with his scream.
Oh yeah, with his high pitch, freaking sonar bat scream that he's doing. He's like, ah!
reminded me, like, that was like when kids like do that, where they're like, look how high I can go, and they like just do their bat screech.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, it breaks the windows. I kind of like that.
It's fine. It's just,
I like that.
It's random.
It's
just
like a
kind
bat.
of like,
It's a bat squeal, right?
sure. I mean, yeah, it's fine.
It's kind of cool.
It was just kind of funny.
It's different.
So,
It is funny.
It is different.
But I like it. I like it because it's different. It's a superpower he's been given that he uses against her.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not one we ever seen used.
Yeah.
In vampire movies. So I dig it.
Yeah.
It's silly. It is. It is funny. Welcome to Fright Night for real, bitch. This actually kind of reminded me of the Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Welcome to primetime, bitch.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no,
but
nowhere near as good.
Not as good at all.
And then when she gets hit by the sun, she turns into a big pile of blood.
Yep, she just melts on down to bloody goo.
And then Charlie gifts his girlfriend her exact same necklace, and she acts like, so beautiful.
It's so weird. It looks exactly the same. I think
It's
the one
gotta
that
be
he gets her is like has diamonds or something. Like it looks a little sparklier.
It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade, but
Yeah,
it's like the same thing.
It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
She's just happy to be alive.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. I just don't know where he would have even gotten that.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is that the two main chicks don't get naked.
Oh, yeah, it would have been
Amy
nice
and
to
Jerry.
see Jerry, yeah.
We do see her nipple in the reflection of the blood bath. Like when she's.
Do not remember
I'm
that.
paying very close attention. Okay, she came around the side of her, and you could actually see she was topless. But the whole rest of it, she's topless. It's weird because the movie is very sensual and sexual and graphic and its nudity. We go to a strip club, we see a bunch of chicks naked. We get the erotic scenes with naked chicks. But then the two main chicks, especially Jerry Dandridge, who's supposed to be this seductress and all empowered by her sexuality, she's topless for like half this film.
Yeah, but
but she never shows her tits. It's weird to me.
It is weird.
It's like for this kind of movie, you would think they would be like, you gotta show them. We're gonna hire somebody who shows them.
Like with her nude, and then she changed her mind.
And she changed her mind.
I was like, never mind. I don't want to show him. I don't know.
Well, what was Amy's excuse? Because that bloodbath scene would have been way cooler if she came out of there nude. Right?
I don't know what her excuse was. How dare you not
How
get
dare
naked?
you? How dare you not give me what I want? Fuck your comfortableness. All right, that's it. Fright Night Part 2, New Blood. It's okay. Definitely the worst of the four.
Yeah.
But this franchise definitely just it goes. If I had to rank them, which we never do, it just goes how they were released.
It's original, sequel, remake, and now this one.
Yep, that's a perfect ranking. Rank of release.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. So that's that. We are done with the Fright Night franchise.
Goodbye, Fright Night.
So,
first one's my favorite.
Oh yeah, easily.
I'll gladly rewatch that anytime. But
so now we got to figure out what we are going to do next. What's the next franchise? Or maybe we'll take a break from franchises and do a couple solo films.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, we'll let Kaylee decide, or I don't know. We'll look through what we got, but we got a lot. Let me tell you, I was going through when it comes to like Slasher Sunday, Stephen King Saturday, and Monster Monday, the most untapped resource of the theme days that we have by far and away is Monster Monday. There's literally thousands of films that I keep looking at that I'm like, whoa, I could do Monster Monday indefinitely. Right? Stephen King will eventually run out. Right? We can only do so many. Slasher Sundays, you could do a lot for sure. There's definitely a lot of them. I've done a lot. Right? So I'm running out of good ones to do.
We're getting into the
yes.
kind, yeah.
But Monster Monday, on the other hand, although going back to Slasher Sunday, I think we're doing the best Slasher Sundays we've ever done with Bates Motel. This season 3 one that we literally just did that you would have saw release yesterday. I think is like one of my favorite videos that we've ever done. So personally, I think our Slasher Sundays right now are fantastic. But yeah, we are running out of like good slashers to discuss.
Yeah.
But with Monster Monday, the sky's the limit here, man. Like there's so many to do. So I'm looking forward to it. So what I want you guys to do in the comments below, for those of you who stuck around, I want you guys to tell us some of the Monster Monday monster movies you'd like for us to cover for Monster Monday. What are some ones? And just do a quick Sinister Cinema Reviews in the YouTube search, and then the name of the movie to make sure, I or we haven't already done it. I've done hundreds. So, I've done thousands of videos at this point. So even if I didn't do it for Monster Monday, I might have already done it for another video.
Yeah.
But definitely let us know, because I always want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah.
Anything more?
No.
That's that.
That's that.
All right. Well, until next week, guys.